To the max, baby. Hello, world. Welcome to the Max podcast, where we have real talk about educational transformation. I am Dr. Max, and I'm super excited to film our new episode in our series on pathways of prosperity. Today, I am joined with the first, yes, I said it, the first female chancellor of WSSU, Winston-Salem State University, Chancellor Brown. How are you today?
I am doing well. So glad to be here with you today.
Thank you so much for taking time from your extremely busy schedule to hang out with me. You've been traveling all over, telling everybody in the world that you can get in front of about WSSU. You've been doing your Ramily tours?
Absolutely. The Ramily tours was a brainchild that I had when we were thinking about enrollment. As I was talking to people across the state, a lot of students just weren't even saying the word Winston-Salem State University. And I said, this has to change. So I got our Turner buses, which are beautifully branded, that say Winston-Salem State University. Got my band, my choir, my cheerleaders, the powerhouse, best cheerleading crew ever. We got on the bus and we've gone to various high schools just to bring the school to the students. And so it was amazing energy. The students were live streaming it and talking about Winston-Salem State. And before we knew it, schools from all across the state were calling us saying, hey, can you come to our school?
That's phenomenal.
So we did it this year. We're assessing what it looks like for next year. So the bus tours, the Ramily tour has been absolutely phenomenal.
So did you just do it in the state of North Carolina, going to high schools, or where have you been?
We took it on the road. So in North Carolina, we've been, of course, here in Forsyth County.
Yes,
you have to take care of home.
Thank you.
And then we went to Durham. We went to Greenville, North Carolina, Baltimore during the CIAA tournament, and we just got back from the ATL in Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah. So
they've been in some hot spots.
Absolutely.
So people everywhere now are saying the words Winston-Salem State University.
Absolutely. That was my goal. I want them to check us out, look at our programs, come visit our beautiful campus, and sell this jewel that is Winston-Salem State University.
That's beautiful. And now you said you started here when?
Oh, July 1st, 2024.
July 1.
Yes.
Wow. So about 10 months?
About 10 months.
So you've been on a whirlwind in that time, seems like, because you came in with some ideas. I'm sure when you said, hey, let's do a bus tour and go places, was that well received?
It absolutely was. I think
awesome.
When I was hired, I was told a few things, that we need to increase our partnerships, work with people in the community and across the state. We need to increase our enrollment and really just brand Winston-Salem State. So I took that as a challenge and I said, yes, let's do this. So awesome. I have been meeting with all the industry leaders in town. I've been meeting with legislators here and in Raleigh. I've even gone to DC to meet with legislators to talk about Winston-Salem State.
When do you sleep?
I'm praying about that.
Okay, we need to sleep and
Let's pray for sleep.
We need to sleep. Okay, you got to keep going.
We do. But there's so much to tell.
Yeah.
And people have been so receptive. They want to know more. They're asking questions. They're coming to visit. So I just think it's like a new energy that I hope that I'm bringing to the campus and to the region.
Well, I think you definitely are. When you brought your school to my high school, it was transformative. Even though we're in the backyard, for the students to have that as an experience, to see the campus and all it offers in their environment, it makes it feel more like home and not so threatening.
That's great. And that was the goal.
Yeah.
I think people took for granted that the students here know about Winston-Salem State. They might know the word, but they don't know that experience. You said it right.
Yeah.
So we wanted to bring that experience and for them to visualize themselves in that role. I love it. You too can be in the band. You too can be in the cheer or the choir group. Like, we wanted them to see themselves. And so bringing the students to them, I hope, was a game changer.
It was definitely a game changer. So now what do you think that is going to do for your enrollment for the 25-26 school year? And have you seen an uptick any at all?
Absolutely. I went over those numbers yesterday. We had a goal of getting 10,000 applications. We're at 12,006.
Come through.
Yeah. So we are seeing an impact. Now, for those who have committed to say they were going, we had a goal somewhere in 950 or 960. We're at 970.
Congratulations.
So it is working. We're continuing to recruit, continuing to get students to engage and come. But I think that visibility and that, like I said, bringing it to them, I think it's working.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you said something that's key, branding. And I think you taking your kids and your student organizations on the road with the president, it also sends a message that you care.
Absolutely.
Right? And so it's easier to say the name for people that I can see, feel, and touch than
That's
somebody
right.
that's just a video from afar.
That's
so I
right.
think that's great. And the branding is key.
Oh,
because you
absolutely.
want it to become a buzzword in everybody's house.
Absolutely.
WSSU,
And
right?
I want everybody to wear red.
Everybody to wear. I apologize. I'm in black and white today. I
Yeah,
apologize, but I do have my
You have your
Ramily water.
Absolutely.
My
absolutely.
Ramily water.
So I think it is good for me as a chancellor to be there. It shows that I'm serious. It shows that I'm personable.
Yeah.
Like I said, my students here call me Auntie Bo.
Oh,
And
that's
so
sweet.
I think the other high school students need to see that you have somebody that's going to care for you sitting in this chair.
That's
I
awesome.
think that's important to see.
And I think it's different too, because usually people in your role are like this name and a figurehead,
Right.
but not someone that they can see, feel, and touch. And
Right.
so the auntie piece has already said that they love you. You give the auntie vibes already in 10 months.
Yes.
Way to
Yes.
go.
I love it. I love it. They said, well, can we call you Auntie Bo? I said, absolutely. I said, because I'm going to love on you. I'm going to call you to the carpet if I need
That's
to.
right.
But we're going to keep this thing moving. So, yes, they call me Auntie Bo.
So some people get very stuck in names and titles.
Oh.
So I think the student's asking you, how's that going to make you feel if I call you Auntie Bo and not Chancellor Brown?
Mm-hmm.
So that was also a form of respect.
It was. It absolutely was. I actually was flattered and shocked that I didn't quite know what to make of it. But then I realized it was so cool because when I walk across the yard, which I try to do as often as I can, some students will say, hey, Auntie Bo.
Oh.
Others will whisper, that's Auntie Bo.
That's a term of endearment.
It is.
That
it
is a term of
and
endearment.
So that makes me feel good because they know I care about them.
Yeah.
And so again, whether I have to fuss at them or whether I can go out and just hang out on the breezeway with them, they know that I'm here for them. And that was my ultimate goal.
And that makes a connection because you're not just sitting in meetings around big tables with them. You're walking their path.
Yes.
You're sitting on the breezeway having conversations
That's
with them.
right.
You're being very relatable.
That's right.
And I think that's beautiful.
I'll pop up to some of their events, and it's so funny because they'll get shy when they realize I'm in the room.
When they see you there. Well, do you think you being the first female president has brought a different touch, feel, and empathy to the campus that it possibly needed?
I think so. I know as women we move differently.
We move different.
I am very decisive,
Yes.
but I also am very empathetic and I
Yes.
listen. I want to strategize, but I also want to get everybody's input.
Yeah.
And so I do think that may be a different feel. I communicate differently.
Yes.
I don't have a lot to hide.
Period.
So I believe
Transparency,
right.
honey.
You have to give people the facts so they understand
And
the
everybody
why.
don't like the facts.
They don't.
But
they
we
have,
need-
but
you
they have
gotta
to
know
have
them.
They have to have them.
Because you need to understand the why.
Right.
And it doesn't always feel good.
That's exactly
But
right.
I'm a woman. Something you said that stood out is that although I'm a woman, I'm decisive, but I'm empathetic.
Right.
Because it's often said that women are not good decision makers.
Right.
And you started with, I am decisive, but I'm empathetic. So I'm going to make the decision.
Absolutely.
But I still feel for you.
Absolutely.
Regardless of how it lands on you.
That's
I
right.
want you to know that I still love you.
I do. I still love you. I'm going to listen to you. But at the end of the day,
This is
I
what
have
it
to make
is.
this decision.
Amen.
And I think some of that comes from my legal background. You know,
Yeah.
I'm an attorney by trade.
Oh, wait a minute. Let's talk about that. You just got nominated to the
Yes.
U.S. Supreme Court.
Yes.
My kids tell me I think it's clock that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's what
clock
they do.
that.
They do.
Mhm. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
That's
thank
phenomenal.
You. Well, it was surreal. So I am an attorney. I practiced only maybe 2 years, but I kept my license active. And to get into the Supreme Court, you have to be an active attorney in good standing. Wake Forest University sponsored me in that effort.
Congratulations.
So yes, I went there. I was sworn in front of all of the justices.
Yes.
It was surreal. That was a surreal moment.
And it was a picture with you and two other amazing ladies that are college president.
Yes, that was, we were with the governor's office the other day.
Uh-huh.
And so that was Bennett's president and Shaw's president.
Yeah.
There's a lot of female university presidents in North Carolina right now. I think there's 6 of us.
Go ahead, women,
I
and
think
do
there's
it.
6 of us.
Go ahead and be great
and,
women.
And so we have a bond, we talk, and we laugh. And so it's just a good time for female leadership in this space right
Because
now.
we need that support and mentorship.
Yes.
We need a place to just let your hair down and
Yes.
tell it like it is and be like, look,
Yes.
I'm going through this. Can you help me, sis? Like, let's
Yes.
put all our degrees to the side.
That's right.
Let's have some real
That's
candid
right.
talk like we're doing here on Real Talk. You know, you got it.
And sometimes we just call and breathe. Like, I just need
love
to
it.
breathe. I
Yeah.
just need to sigh.
So I'm a graduate of Bennett College.
Oh,
and,
yes, Bennett Bell.
yeah.
Bennett Bell.
Yeah, Miss Walsh is,
Love it.
President Walsh is an amazing woman.
She
so
is. We're going
she's
to
done
miss
some
her
great
in
things.
this
We
region.
really
I was looking forward to working with her.
Yeah.
But I actually knew her from before.
Okay.
So it was good when I was coming here and she was here, but she's leaving us. But she is very, very a strong leader.
She's left a mark.
She has.
Phenomenal. So while we're talking about women in leadership, and you said earlier that you have not slept, and I love sleep, okay? Sleep and I are amazing friends. So how are you taking care of yourself as you move into the completion of your first year as the acting president? And how many students do you guys have?
So we have 4,700 students.
Over 4,700 students. How are you taking care of you?
That's a great question. I'm working on that. That's a work in progress. My husband is very good. He's a good partner. So there'll be sometimes he'll look at me and he says, put the phone down.
Good.
Let's go for a walk.
Good.
You know, and so he's helping me try to find that work-life balance. But,
Good.
you know, particularly in the first year, being the first female,
your
want to show up. Your visibility is high, so
and
you have
people
to show
expect
up.
to see you everywhere,
They
all the
do.
time, at every
They do.
event, at your very best.
They do. So
And
I'm
that takes
trying
a
to
lot.
navigate and balance that. I have booked my vacation and we'll be going on a vacation very soon.
Congratulations.
Very soon.
You deserve it.
Right. And so it's a work in progress. I have to be mindful of myself and take moments, particularly on the weekend, just to sit and listen to my music
And be quiet.
and be quiet
And be still.
and be still. That's exactly
And
right.
do you put your phones away when you're being quiet and still?
They're sitting close by. They're sitting close by. I try not to look at them.
You try.
And I have a new grandbaby. She's 1 year old.
And she is adorable.
She is a sweetheart. And so when I need baby time, I will call and get her over and play with her for a little bit. And
That's a
then
blessing.
when she wears me out, I'll send her home. And it's the best feeling
See,
ever.
that's the positive about being a grandparent, I'm sure, is that you get to have them, but I don't got to keep them.
I don't have to keep. I can
Yeah,
send
they
her
got to.
home.
They go on.
So
back.
she was with me Sunday. I got my photos and my kisses, and then I sent her on her way. That
Take
was
care,
good.
baby.
Yes, good to see you.
I love that. I love that. So what is your vision? Let's talk about first some of your accomplishments.
Yes.
Well, actually, I think we should reverse that. We really should talk about what your vision is for the university, because just like when you said when you came in, you had already had a brainchild, and that was your Ramily tour. I'm sure you have so many other things that you have on your checklist that you're working towards accomplishing.
Yes.
And then I want to talk about some things that you've accomplished in this short time here.
Absolutely. So in the interview process, I heard a lot from the community and from the staff about how people kind of wanted Winston-Salem State to have a second reemergence. You know, they wanted that Ram pride to be stronger. They wanted us to be known for our educational quality. They wanted us to be known for our athletics and our student supports, and wanted the community to really see us and work with us. And so I kind of took that as my charge. And so, again, we have strong academic programs. I want them to be powerhouse programs. Our health sciences, we're known for that. We're dominating in that space. Nursing, I think we can do more. So I'm pushing the whole campus. I think we should do more in that space. You know, we're built as a teacher's college. And the education field is going through some changes.
Honey, can we please get me some children over here to go in the field of education? What can I do? I need some teachers in my classroom.
That's what we have to look at. So I want to reimagine what our education department looks like. What could it be for the future? We got to think about that.
I love that.
And then our College of Business. We need to stand that back up. Make it a shining beacon of business and entrepreneurship. Because I think in our community, entrepreneurship, we do it, but we need all the skills and tools and the parameters around it.
And so, sorry to cut you off. The interesting piece about that is we don't think we need any education around being an entrepreneur. We just think we know how.
No.
I'm good at this, so I'm going to go and this is my business. But there's so much more to it that you need to be taught how to do.
That's the first step,
key.
is knowing what the passion is. But then how do you build those infrastructure around it? Marketing, branding, bookkeeping, strategy. You got to know all of that. And I think Winston-Salem State in this region should be the beacon for the small business and entrepreneurship. So those are some of the things I have in mind. And then just with campus, the campus is beautiful. We got to make sure all of our facilities are coming up to speed. If we need new facilities, I have to be at the legislature asking for those new facilities. And so I'm looking at the physical layout of the campus because I think that's going to be important. And then it's just our student success. We have to get students in. We have to support them through graduation. And I want all of those numbers to increase, particularly here in our backyard. I want our numbers for Forsyth County to increase. We got to get more of the students from your school and from everywhere else into Winston-Salem State to get to these degrees to help this whole region be stronger.
I agree.
So those are some of my top of mind
vision things.
I
mean, that's why you're not sleeping. And you might not sleep for the next 10 years because that was a big, robust list of things.
It is.
The interesting piece that I found about my short time in Winston-Salem is that there's a lot of gems, but you have to do a lot of the re-imaging, the imagining, and the branding of it, because it's almost like they're hitting gems that have so much zeal and zest and historical prevalence that could really make a tremendous difference.
Right.
And I'm so enthralled to see where this campus is going to go under your leadership, because what I'm hearing you say, there may be other colleges in our backyard, but mine is just as good as theirs.
That's exactly right.
And you need to come over here and see that.
That's right. We all have a lane, and I said we have a lane, and I want to widen it a little bit, and we're going to do it, and we're going to do it well.
And smile.
And smile.
I love it. You really have the poker face. Listen, you say stuff with a smile and a handshake.
Yes.
And I love that. I need to learn that skill.
I tell people, don't let the smile fool you.
I don't know why they would. Because I see so much Chancellor Brown. This is giving me so much life.
I love it.
So as we're discussing this and your, visions for that campus, what are 3 things that you're super proud of your accomplishments? You talked about the increasing, applications and the increasing enrollment for the upcoming year, but what are 2 additional things?
So one would be, I went to Wake Forest University, undergrad and law school. So we signed an MOU with Wake Forest Law earlier this year, where they have agreed to provide scholarships and admission for 2 of our students every year.
But do you know, that's impressive.
Powerful.
Congratulations.
Powerful. And so
free?
When scholarships,
I mean,
it didn't say fully free.
I'm all about free.
But close enough.
We close
enough.
But
because
that's a blessing.
It's a blessing.
And it's expensive.
Wake Forest is expensive. It's a great, fabulous law school.
Yeah.
Though. So for our students to have that opportunity, if they do the work, to do that is phenomenal. So I'm proud of my alma mater, and I'm proud of Winston-Salem State bringing those 2 together.
Marriage.
So that was phenomenal. That got so much buzz. I had alumni calling me saying, "Hey, can we get to be a part of that?"
No.
I said, "No, ma'am, no, sir."
You
no,
graduated.
Although I did call Wake and say, "Hey, does it have to stay at 2?"
I love that.
So we're going to be in talks about what that looks like. So hopefully this year we'll get 2 students into that pipeline.
Congratulations.
So that was huge, because imagine a pipeline of lawyers that came through
from
W.S.S.U. Imagine that.
Imagine that advocacy and
the connections.
Connections that that's
the giving back, all of that.
That's
that comes
phenomenal.
From that. So a couple other law schools have called, so we'll see what's in the works for that too. So that's one thing I'm really, really proud of. I think the other thing is the $2 million grant we just got for nursing.
Congratulations.
There was a foundation, Bedford Falls Foundation, called us. They came for a site visit. They looked around, and we got a call saying, "Congratulations, you've been awarded $2 million.
Congrats.
Thank you." It's
because that's going to fund all that innovation you talked about.
It's for nursing scholarships.
It's
for nursing student supports and nursing emergency funds, because a lot of our nurses are struggling to work and go to school, and there's a shortage of nursing. Yeah. That $2 million, that's a game changer.
That's a game changer for those babies.
That's a game changer for us.
Yeah. My daughter was in nursing school for 2 years and changed to public health.
Yes.
Because it's also a very stressful field.
Very stressful.
And so when you talked about the support of them, I think that is great.
That's what was key. They said use this for student supports, because we know they struggle, whether it's childcare, whether it's mental health, whether it's I can't afford a stethoscope. There's reasons that they need that support. And so for that foundation to give us that was just phenomenal. And we were able to announce that the same day the governor came for a visit here on campus. So we've had some.
You've been doing some stuff, honey.
We have been.
I love that for you, for WSSU, and for Winston-Salem.
Yes.
And like you said, the region, because when we have a strong area, we're building a strong region, and we're building a strong state.
Right. And that's what I tell people. We are a key part to this community. And so our success, it spreads everywhere.
Yeah.
I think when businesses look at this region, I want them to understand that you have a workforce development university right here. You. We can help you develop programs and develop your workforce.
And bring your money.
And bring your business.
And then hire my students.
And then hire my students.
That's what we need.
So that's what we're trying to do and develop that. So again, lots of opportunity, lots of things. Oh, one thing I did want to tell you about. Everybody was talking about that Blue Origin space launch that happened. People were debating whether it went up or not. It went somewhere. Anyway, so our students and a faculty member had a research project that was on that Blue X Origin.
Congratulations.
So my students got to go down to the launch. The faculty, they went down, they met Oprah.
Oprah.
They
Oh,
met
Oprah. Listen,
Right.
Oprah. We love you, Oprah.
We love you, Oprah.
Thank you.
They met
And
Oprah.
I love Gail too. I watch her every morning.
Yes. But think about that experience from Winston-Salem State.
That's phenomenal.
Out of high school, sophomores, doing research with the faculty to get to put your research
on that,
on the space show.
And the babies will never forget that.
They will
They will be telling their great grandkids about that.
Right. Those are the kind of experiences we're creating here
That's
at
beautiful.
Winston-Salem State University.
Which goes right back to your branding. It goes back to your marketing. And you are being extremely strategic because you're not going after small wins.
Oh, no.
Honey, you getting some big wins. I mean, you out here doing it. So let's talk about when we finish this conversation. I'm going to need some mentors. Okay?
We can talk.
I love it. So as we're talking about mentorship, as I'm moving into mentorship, how do you feel and what do you think the importance of women supporting other women in leadership and growth opportunities?
It is invaluable. I think we have to work together as women because it is a different space for women.
It is.
Yes, you can know your facts and your information inside and out. But for us, it's about how we show up, how we talk, how we look, how our hair looks,
every day.
And even how other women treat you
and perceive
you. So it's very tricky for women. So I'm a full supporter of mentorship. I have a group of people that they call me. I talk to them. Even the people I meet, I'll give you 30 minutes because I believe you never know what could happen in that 30 minutes and how you can inspire or push somebody to their next level. I'm often just taking 30-minute Zoom meetings just to introduce, tell me what you're thinking about. I'll give them some feedback or have you considered this? And they've been very appreciative. But it's very important to pour into that next generation and to other people to share this wealth and knowledge.
I'm a firm believer of that. And I also believe as a woman of color, people already have a perception of us, especially when you're decisive.
So true.
When you know what it is you want, you go after it and you don't mince words because you're direct. And so for you to be able to be comfortable in that space and lead men and women and say unapologetically, I love you, I care, but this is about the work we have to do.
Exactly right.
And for me, that's a hard place because I'm a high school principal, and as a woman in leadership that's very male dominated, our superintendent has done a great job of putting a lot of women in leadership positions, but it doesn't mean because I'm in a position people respect me the same or listen the same. True. And so even though you may show up, I may say something and then no one hears it and he may say the same thing I said and they were like, oh, that's such an amazing idea. Hold on, but I just said that. Just said it, yes. Right? So when I said earlier you have the poker face, I wear my emotions on me. I have to really learn the poker face. Like that's the skill of the smile I'm like.
Again, over the course of my career, I've experienced everything you just said. Yeah. That's somebody repeating after you, or I tell people, I guess I'm just invisible. Like I just said it. So I will never forget one time I was meeting that I was hosting and I was calling in a lot of high-powered people. So they came in the room and they were greeting every male in the room. And so I just waited. And I just sat at the head of the table and they were looking around like, well, whose meeting is this? And I just said, thank you all for joining me for my meeting.
For mine. But so I like how you did that for my meeting.
For my meeting. Yes, and so you just have to take your space. You have to take your space.
I love it.
Because
and it's okay to do that.
And it's okay to do that. Don't feel guilty about it. Just take your space. You can do it quietly, like I said, with a smile.
With a smile.
Because eventually they had to sit and listen to me.
To me.
Because it was my meeting.
Amen.
And so I've just learned to navigate those.
I love it. I love it. And so when you spend time with other women who are maybe starting along their career, what are some things that you say to them so that they do not dim their lights, but they stay confident in who they are so that they can complete the task? Because I believe that where we are is you can put me in a place, but you can't keep me there.
Absolutely.
So when I'm in my God-given space, then only he can move me out of that, right? So how do we support other young women, or not even, they don't have to be young in age, but young in their careers. Right. How do we support them to stay the course and not give up the fight?
Right. One thing I tell them is to be very knowledgeable. I learned my job and yours. I learned my industry and the industry beside it. I just try to learn as much as I can because you never know when that information is going to come in handy and make you look like a superstar. So I do a lot of research. I would say in higher ed, there's a lot of newsletters. I subscribe to all of them that are free. And I read them. I
Yep,
read the
yeah.
headlines. I watch people's moves through the industry. I just became a student of higher education.
And studying.
And
people.
studying.
And
Studying
people.
people.
It
And
said,
people.
because I was going to say, wait a minute.
And
You said, and
people.
I watched the movement.
I watched
so
the
people.
movements
Yeah.
of people.
We have to be
right.
a student of the studying of people.
So
honey.
if somebody got promoted or got a job, I wanted to read their bio because I was like, well, what did they do? I'm like,
What they do?
hadn't heard of that organization. Let me go check that one out. So I just did that, and I just built that over my career. The other is to be confident in what you know. I would tell people when I was younger and coming up the ranks, I'd be in meetings, I would be afraid to speak because I didn't know how it was going to land. And I'll never forget, it was one of my female mentors. We were in a meeting and I leaned over and I whispered something to her. She said, excuse me, Bonita has something to say.
Oh, put you right on the spot.
She put me right out and I had to say it. And from that point on, I was like, I'm just going to say what I'm thinking.
going to say it.
Because I was right.
Yeah, I was right.
I was right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and say it. So just you have to have those moments where you can build that confidence and keep going. And then have a goal. You can have incremental goals, but reach them, pat yourself on the back, reset, and then go for the next goal.
That's it.
Don't set the big lofty ones and then be depressed because you can't meet the big lofty one. You got to take steps.
Yeah, we got to take the stairs.
Yeah, you got to
take
take steps to get there. And that's what I tell people. And just know, you got to know who you are.
Be comfortable in knowing who you are.
Anybody else. We can't all be Beyonce.
Amen.
I
just
try
can't.
to be.
Can't. I don't think Beyonce wake up like that.
Thank you.
I think she put a lot of work and energy and effort into it. I love her.
Not every day.
Not every day, baby.
Not every day.
Every day.
So just be confident in who you are because you are uniquely you for a purpose.
Amen.
For a purpose.
I love that.
And again, it's not something you wake up and do immediately. It took me a minute to get comfortable and be myself.
Yes.
But you have to get to that point. So if you're armed with the information, you're confident, you've done your research,
I like
you know yourself, then you're armed. You got your toolkit. You're ready. You're ready to go.
That's beautiful. I love that. Now, you said you only did law for 2 years.
Yes.
And now you're a college president.
Yes.
So tell me, there's something between there. Let's talk about what's on the in-between.
There was a lot on the in-between. And so when I stopped practicing law, I literally did not have a job. I was living in D.C. It was during 9/11, and I was scared to death. I was like, I'm going home. So I moved back home to North Carolina, and I saw a job posting for an attorney at Livingstone College. And I was like, I'll try it. I got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So I went through the interview process. It was the first time female president. She had a big personality. I'll never forget. I walked in the room and I interviewed for the attorney position. And she leaned back and she said, I'm not going to hire you for the attorney position. I said, wow, I must have bombed that interview. What did I say?
Right.
And she said, I want you to be my assistant. And I said, you do know I'm not a secretary, right? And she fell out laughing just like that. She said, no, in higher education, assistant to the president is like my right-hand person. And she said, I see something in you and I think you can do this.
I love that.
Fell in love with higher education administration.
But do you
Fell
see,
in love.
That was just an interview that turned into a life-changing experience for you.
Life-changing experience.
Call
Her name
that
was Dr. Algenia Freeman. I have to give her flowers because she saw that in me and gave me that
That's
entree.
beautiful.
And from there, I went to, like I said, 2 other HBCUs. I went to a large school in Texas, University of North Texas, 15,000 students.
Oh, my.
I was chief of staff there.
Ooh.
And I came back here to UNCG where I was chief of staff.
My son just graduated from UNCG.
Yes, great school, great school. And so I was chief of staff. And in those roles, you're right beside the president.
Yes.
So you're picking up the skills, the traits.
All of that.
You're seeing so that's where my knowledge base came in from working at all those different kind of schools. Then I went back to DC to the nonprofit circuits. There's a lot of nonprofits that work with higher education. That opened up another whole world of policy exposure, foundations, the people who had the money, the Gates Foundation, Lumina.
So you've been sitting around the table with all the people that you're now knocking on the door.
Absolutely.
But look at your past.
Absolutely.
So people want, and that's really a stair climb that you just did. But your stair climb led you to the top.
That's exactly right.
That's
where you have to have some intentionality. You have to look at how the pieces fit together.
Strategy.
It's strategy. It is absolutely strategy. And so in my last job, I was the chief strategy officer for a university in Kentucky. Again, we had about 14,000 students. And then the president left and I was appointed the interim president for a year. And that gave me my leverage to be ready for my own permanent presidency.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
I love that.
Thank you.
Your resume is absolutely impressive.
It was a journey.
And you do not look like you've done all of that.
And that's what people say, but I know.
That's a blessing. High five, honey.
I know.
I like it.
Know. So yeah, it's
and
been
you learned a lot along the way, but it's also it seems that you made a lot of connections and relationships and even mentoring.
Absolutely.
Mentors.
Those relationships are key. So that's why I tell people, treat people kindly, because you
never know what path you will cross again.
You never know. And so all those people that I met, I still have connections with. When I was announced and appointed, they were so excited. So yeah, I got messages from the Bill Gates Foundation, from Lumina, from all those national people saying, oh my goodness, we're so glad you made it to that point. So it's been a good journey.
And think about the access and opportunity
Yes.
that's going to provide for the students
Absolutely.
of Winston-Salem State
Absolutely.
University because of the path you've come and the relationships you've built.
Absolutely.
That is amazing.
And I plan to leverage all of that for my students.
Amen.
All
Amen.
of it.
And for Winston-Salem, your students, and our community.
Yes.
Like, I think that's phenomenal. Congratulations to you for having such a robust experience to lead you. So the part of the work is probably not hard for you because you've done all of these avenues of the work. It's just making sure you're clearly indoctrinated in the work here.
Right.
That is keeping you from sleeping because you're a studier.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I know all the possibilities.
Yes.
And I want us to get there now. But
Now.
you can't do that now
I
because
know.
there's other things you have to go through. There's resource constraints. We know HBCUs, we don't have enough money. We don't have to do the things that we need to do.
And with the way things are going now,
It's
we just
tricky.
might keep getting less.
It's tricky.
Yeah.
It's personnel. We don't have the bandwidth. A lot of our staff are tapped out because they've been doing 2 jobs for years.
2 or 3.
Right. And so I know where I want to go, but now I think the key part is just navigating, getting us there with the resources we have and not just burning my people completely out.
Right.
So that's what I'm navigating.
So how do you, because I'm a task-driven, goal-driven person, so how do you have this vision and you know where you can get to, but you also know all the things that are blocking your growth? Like just feel like they're blocking your blessings.
Yes.
How do you stay the course and stay focused so that you don't get discouraged and burn your people out?
Yeah.
And then have a large turnover where you're having to continue to rebuild.
Yeah, it's a day-by-day challenge. You do have to take stock in the daily wins.
Yes.
And so I remind myself that I have a chief of staff. We remind each other. So I'm having a bad day. She'll be like, but we did make progress.
Yeah.
She'll have a bad day. And I'd be like, but remember, we made progress.
So have a cheerleader.
So we have to have a
cheerleader.
From day to day. And some of us also is set realistic goals. I know I can't get from A to Z.
Right.
So what does A to C look like? So let's work on getting from A to C. And then, the days are good when you get that phone call to here's $2 million.
Here's $2 million.
So, that
and I
boosts you
might
for
can
a
live
week.
on that for a little
Right.
bit.
I can live on that
for a little bit.
little while.
Yeah.
So it's just a day-by-day journey. And again, when you talk to those students, it makes it okay. This is my why.
They're worth it.
This is my why.
Yeah.
And so when I have a bad day, I'll just go walk along the yard and I'll talk to my students,
babies.
right? And I'll come on back in my office and get back to work.
And now I can
I can do this.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because some days I roll up, I'm like, okay, God, now listen. Okay. And then I think about the babies.
That's right.
And I cannot wait to get there to see them. And it's like, even on breaks, fall break, spring break, whatever, I miss them so much. Even after they've worried me so much, you can't wait to get back to hug them and to see their faces because they are our why. Yeah. When you truly have a passion for people and making a difference in your community, we're building our future. I did a post today and I love messages and quotes and stuff. And so I'm into this Little Words project. And so I did a post today. I said, sometimes we have to encourage ourselves.
We do.
And so me touching these bracelets and having the little things is what keeps me motivated to keep going because, we all have adversity that happens. But it seems like when it happens in a historically Black institution, it's amplified at a greater level than when it happens at a predominantly white one.
It absolutely is. And I just have to remind my staff that we're special. That's why we're going to get that attention.
Ooh,
so we're special.
We special. I like that.
And so
we
the minute
special.
the not so good narrative comes out, we just make sure we push out the extra good narratives. So you just have to.
There go your branding again.
There's your branding. That's what you
branding.
have to do. And so tomorrow is absolutely my favorite time of year. It's our commencement. So we'll be graduating over 800 students. And these are most of my first generation low-income students. And they know walking across that stage and getting that degree is going to change the trajectory of their whole family.
That's right.
So when you see the tears, when you see the cheering,
makes it worth
when
it.
you see the stepping across the stage, that's their why.
So you're okay with them stepping? They don't get in trouble for stepping?
I just don't want them to knock me over.
So they can get up there and do their little two-step,
Well,
you know.
we try to move them along because everybody wants to hear their
Right,
name. And
right.
so that's my only challenge, that it gets loud and that you can't hear the next person's name.
person.
So, but I personally like the little celebrations. My staff is probably not on the same page with me.
I enjoy that so much, like watching the clips.
But you know what? You don't know what that child went through.
Amen. You don't know the story.
You don't know the story.
You don't know it.
And so I said, if they want a second to celebrate,
and if that's
my empathy. That's my empathy.
But if that's their time in the sun, let's let them have that.
Let's let them have it just for a little bit.
For a little bit. Now don't get up there and 3-4 minutes.
Show, right?
You get about 15 seconds.
Right.
15 seconds.
But yeah, that's the best because again, these are stories of these students working to take care of their brothers and sisters. Working through mental illness, not having any money, having to stop out and come back. These are their stories. No family support at all.
Nowhere to go on a holiday break.
And they made it.
Yeah.
They did it. So my absolutely favorite time. So I'm actually going to sleep good tonight because I know we can celebrate tomorrow.
Because you're going to celebrate tomorrow. So graduation is probably going to be about 4 hours. We're going to have a lot of celebrations on the stage. So they need to pack a lunch.
Maybe 3.5. I'm going to have to sweep them along a little bit.
Go ahead
or take that to the floor. I need the stage. I
love that. Congratulations to you for this amazing work that you've started and that all the accomplishments that you had and then all the amazing things that are to come for you and your students.
Stay tuned.
What I do need you to do, though, is to take care of you.
Yes.
That is hard for us as women because, our empathy takes us over and we're so worried about everybody else. Our families, our jobs, our parents, and all the other pieces that sometimes we forget to care about us. And if we're not 100% ourselves, then we can't take care of other people.
So
and
true.
Me preaching to you is also me preaching to me. And saying no is something that I'm trying to embrace.
No is a complete sentence.
I know.
That's what I tell people. It's a complete sentence.
I'm really trying to embrace no.
Yes.
About come to this, do this, be like, no, I can't do that today because I don't like the word no. I think it's a horrible thing to tell people no. We need to find a way. Like if I want it, there has to be a way to get to it, right?
Absolutely.
But I need you to take care of you because you have a lot ahead of you, but you're doing such amazing work that you can't forget to rest.
Yes, I appreciate that. I received that.
Yeah.
I say that to a lot of people, but you're right. You got to say it to yourself and do that. But like I said, I have a vacation planned. I have my grandbaby, and I'm going to enjoy it.
Wonderful. So I appreciate you spending time with me today. Is there anything else you would like to share?
No, other than that, just stay tuned and look for Winston-Salem State. We do have some great things that are planned on the horizon. Say our name. Say our name in rooms where you don't hear our names being mentioned.
Amen.
Say our names. Don't forget about us. And then come and join us. Come to our events. Come to our athletic events. Just come take a tour of the campus because Winston-Salem State is absolutely amazing.
It is.
Absolutely.
And you guys are so welcoming all the time. And I so appreciate the connection that you're making between you and the campuses in this community.
Yes.
It truly is impactful. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, world, for tuning into 2theMax podcast. I hope that you learned some amazing things today. I hope that I will see you soon. Make sure that you are saying the name of Winston-Salem State University and the amazing Chancellor Brown because she's doing some phenomenal things. And as she said, stay tuned. But if you have not watched, liked, subscribed, and even shared with everyone that you know of the 2theMax podcast, make sure you do so. Go out and be great because you already are. Mwah.